A mixed martial arts fighter named Yuri Boyka lives in Kiev, Ukraine. He is the best boxer in Europe, so he is called undisputed. One night, Boyka fights in an underground theater in a match that is against the law. He doesn't let his opponent hit him once while the crowd cheers. After a short fight in which he won easily, he kicks his opponent while he's in the air and knocks him out. The scene changes to a jail in Russia with the highest level of security. For the guards and wardens' amusement, the prisoners get into fights. From the outside, these fights look nice, but with the right people, they can get very aggressive. Koshmar is a beast of a man who is the most dangerous prisoner of all time. He is so aggressive that the guards have to chain his arms and legs and close his mouth to keep him from hurting anyone outside the ring. Koshmar's opponent is only half as big as him and can barely hit him. He throws the man down, breaking his neck, and then punches him in the face. The fight won't end until his face is all bloody and twisted. Koshmar is known for killing every opponent he meets, and he has a bad reputation for being cruel. He is more like a monster than a person, and he doesn't feel bad about killing so many people. Boyka, on the other hand, is a good person outside of the fight. He spent several years in jail and is a wanted criminal in Russia, but he has been able to put his past behind him and is trying to be a better person. He gives to charity all the time and even helps a church in Kiev. One day, a priest tells him he should think about doing something else. Boyka's desire has always been backed by the priest, so his comment comes as a surprise to the fighter. Boyka says that God gave him his ability, and he doesn't want to stop using it. He wants to fight as a job, not in a place that is against the law. In the afternoon, Boyka's boss comes up to him and tells him that he can finally fight in official MMA matches. He will be able to take part in the European fighting event in Budapest if he wins a qualifying match. The day of the playoff match then comes. Boyka's whole life, he is willing to give up. Victor is a Russian man who is up against him. The fight starts, and Boyka throws the first good kick. In the first few minutes, he shows how good he is at protecting himself by blocking every attack that is made against him. Boyka can hit Victor more easily as Victor gets more angry. The judges watching from the sides are already pleased, so when he knocks out Victor with a knee to the jaw, it proves he's good enough. Everyone thinks the fight is over, but Victor gets up and surprised everyone. Seconds later, he gets knocked down again, but he doesn't give up. Boyka is getting angry, so he throws a third punch to Victor's face, which knocks him out. After the win, the organizers ask Boyka to fight in the league in Budapest, which will give him a lot of chances. Boyka's boss gives him a lot of money and tells him that the next game is in 2 weeks, so he needs to train hard. Boyka is going when she sees that Victor is in a very bad way. He feels bad that he hurt him so badly, and he never would have done it if he had quit after the first knockout. Boyka remembers what the priest told him and prays that Victor will get better quickly. He wakes up at night with a dream that he killed an opponent in the ring. He goes to the boss the next morning and asks about Victor. He is shocked to hear that Victor died in the hospital last night. They had agreed to this before the game, so no one is to blame. But Boyka knows in his heart that he is to blame for the death. The boss gives Victor a bag that belonged to him when he asked about Victor's family. Boyka finds a letter from Victor's wife and a picture of them both inside the box. He can feel the pain his wife must have felt when she found out about his death by reading the letter. Boyka chooses to tell her he's sorry and make sure she's not having any problems. He knows that even then, his mistake won't be forgotten, but he doesn't want to leave the path to forgiveness. Boyka tells the boss that he wants to go to Russia to meet Victor's wife, but the guy is very against the idea. Boyka is still a criminal in Russia, and if the police find him, they will put him in jail. He will have to make a fake visa, which is a huge risk now that he is so close to being a real MMA fighter. Boyka knows what will happen, but he is set on what he wants to do. In the next scene, Victor's wife Alma, who is at his funeral, is introduced. After he died, she was left alone and with no one to talk to. On top of that, she and Victor owe money to Zurab, who is a crime boss. He goes to the funeral and tells Alma that they should be lovers so that she can pay off her debt. Alma doesn't like him being there, but she tries not to make him mad. She just tells him that she'd rather work hard and pay him back over time. Alma owns a community center where she also lives. Zurab. There are a lot of children and poor people living there. Boyka goes to meet her when he gets to Russia, but he sees a group of men taking her away in a black car. She works as a waitress in Zurab's secret fighting club, it turns out. He looks out for her a lot and treats her like she is his property. Boyka goes to the fight club at the end of the day and finds Alma there. Zurab's people stop him from talking to her and lead him out of the room. Boyka doesn't want to fight with them, so he asks them nicely when she will get home from work. The thugs hit him because he asked them a question, but they get what they deserve for messing with a pro fighter. Zurab watches Boyka fight and is amazed by how well he does. He wants to hire Boyka because he needs a good martial artist in his club. But the man says he's not here to fight, he just wants to meet the girl. Zurab offers to talk to Alma for him since he won't let him meet her, but Boyka says he's wrong again and walks away. Zurab tells his people to keep an eye on him once he is out of sight. The next day, Boyka is able to get into the community center without being seen and meet Alma. He gives her Victor's letter and asks if she has to work at the fight club against her will. Alma says that she would rather work somewhere else but can't because she owes money. Then she reads the letter and asks him if he saw her husband's last fight. Boyka tells the truth and says that the last person Victor fought was him. He tries to explain to Alma that her husband's death was an accident, but she won't listen. Boyka goes to Zurab after the conversation and agrees to fight for him. But in exchange, he will have to forget everything Alma owes him. The deal is that Boyka has to beat Zurab's choice of opponent 3 times. The gangster also says he will protect him from the police and other officials since he knows he used a fake passport to get to Russia. Alma sees Boyka the next day and tells him she doesn't need his sympathy. She wants him to go home, but Boyka says he wants to do this for himself. Then, he goes to a nearby gym to train for the fights, but a man picks on him there. When the other guy keeps poking him, Boyka kicks him down with 1 foot. The day of the first fight comes. Boyka fights a neighborhood fighter, which should be easy. The opponent gets in a few weak kicks, but they don't do much against someone as good as Boyka. He knocks him down and is about to throw the last punch when he stops. To his satisfaction, his opponent admits loss, so he doesn't have to hurt him anymore. Alma gives him drinks after the fight. Boyka asks her if she knows of a nice gym in the area because the one he is going to now doesn't meet his standards. Alma gives it some thought and then invites him to use the gym in her community center. Over the next few days, he trains there, and Alma gets used to his being there. Boyka's next match is against 2 brothers in a 2-on-1 match. He is surprised because no one told him what the rules were. Zurab says that the field is his and that the fighters have to follow the rules. When the match starts, it's hard for Boyka to protect both of his brothers at the same time. When he tries to fight one, the other attacks, making it hard for him to concentrate. Still, in the few seconds it takes them to get up, he manages to push one away and knock the other one down. It's a fair fight until Boyka gets kicked in the lower back, where he's already hurt. He can't stand the pain until he sees Alma in the crowd and decides to keep fighting. After that, he kicks both of their rear ends, which puts them out of the fight. Everyone in the crowd cheers because no one thought he would also win this match. Zurab goes to see Alma the next day and tries to flirt with her. When she turns him down, he says that she has been sleeping with Boyka. He also makes her angry by saying that her husband's death wasn't an accident and that Boyka did it on purpose. Alma acts like she doesn't believe him, but he says something that bothers her. In the meantime, Boyka's boss from Ukraine calls him right back because he has a press meeting for the fight in Budapest. Boyka asks him to put it off because he only needs to win one more fight. Alma is waiting for him in his room when he gets there. She tells him to tell her the truth about how her husband died, and he starts to talk about all the bad things that have happened to him in his life. He says that the first half of his life was miserable and that the match with Victor was the only chance he had to make things better. He did everything he could and won, but Victor's death took a bigger part of him away. He knows it's hard for Alma to accept his help, but he begs her to let him do what he needs to do. Boyka faces Igor, Zurab's best fighter, in the final match, which takes place at night. Igor has been making fun of Boyka since the day he came. Igor is especially mad at Boyka because he makes Igor's place in the gang less secure. He lets out all of his anger and strikes him over and over again. He is able to put up a tough fight, and he goes for Boyka's lower back. but when Boyka gives him a double flying kick, the fight goes in a different way. After that, he beats Igor until he was black and blue and made him bleed so much that he passed out. He wins the whole tournament this way, and Alma's bill is paid. But Zurab had already figured out what would happen and was ready for it. He stops Boyka and tells him that he has to fight one more person before the deal is over. Boyka only has a few hours to get ready for a very important meeting in Budapest that will help his job. But he doesn't want to go home until Alma is safe. So, he tells the boss to wait until the next morning and gets ready to fight the final winner. Koshmar, the beast who has killed all of his opponents in the Russian jail, is the opponent. Because he is a dangerous person, he is put in chains and brought to the arena. The fight begins, but Boyka is too tired to keep going. He does his best, but Koshmar seems to take little or no damage from his hits because of how he looks. The beast hits him with a few blows and then kicks him in the face. Boyka gets knocked down by the crash and has trouble getting back up. Just before he loses the fight, he gathers his strength and stands up, but is knocked down again. When Koshmar is almost sure he has won, Boyka surprises him by kicking him back and pushing him back. After that, he has a better chance of winning. He uses an arm lock on the beast, breaking his right arm, and then kicks him out of the ring. He wins the match at last, but Zurab is still not ready to let go of Alma. He has his servant attack Boyka while he and the girl try to get away. Boyka is at his lowest point when he sees Alma being taken outside. He goes after the guards and kills them all when he gets angry and motivated again. He finally gets Zurab in his hands and throws him to the ground. Boyka gets shot in the process, but his anger makes him forget about the pain. Zurab is killed in the end by being hanged. Alma wants to help Boyka, but he stops her and asks if she can forgive him. After a while, the cops show up and take him into custody. Before he is pulled away, he asks Alma again if she has forgiven him, but she doesn't answer. Boyka is then sent back to jail in Russia. A month later, Alma comes to see him and tells him that he is forgiven. Boyka is happy for the first time in months, even though his plan to become a professional fighter didn't work out. In the last scene, he fights in the prison's ring and keeps his title as the Undisputed. Share your thoughts in the comments, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.